I don't know whether I'm going to end up using this video or not, because I don't know whether it's going to come across as petty. But it is something I'll just go through with. I'll go through the motions of saying what I'm going to say, and then I'll make the decision as to whether it's worth publishing or not. I've spoken before about Taylor Marshall and his Catholicism. You know, I am a Catholic, and I am a conservative Catholic, and I have a lot of, or traditionalist-minded Catholic. I have a lot of sympathies for traditionalist Catholicism, you know, with certain caveats. I mean, I'm not ultra dogmatic in my approach. You know, I don't think anybody's really interested in me getting into the weeds about this stuff. About, you know, do you think the SSPX is valid? You know, do you think the new Novus Ordo is an abomination? You know, these are interesting questions, but I don't want to bore anybody with these questions. I'll just say, I think my general stance is one of conservatism, and I have a critical eye towards post-Vatican II aesthetics and some doctrines. And I do think the Church is facing a real crisis right now, particularly with the current pontiff. But I'm not going to just pile on, and I'm not going to fixate on the current pontiff, because the truth of the matter is, and if you're someone who's interested in Catholicism, or if you're just someone who's interested in studying Catholicism in a way that's fair-minded, the truth of the matter is that the Church has never been defined by who the Pope is at any given time. There have been hundreds of popes through the centuries. Some of them were good men, some of them were bad men. You know, that basically hasn't changed. I think in our day and age, you know, we had this sort of cult of personality going on with John Paul II, and I was, even though I didn't grow up Catholic, John Paul II was always a sort of fatherly figure to me, somebody whom I always admired and respected. You know, even though now I can see where his faults were in ways that I maybe wasn't aware of before. But he was this magnetic, charismatic sort of character, and he had a huge his pontificate lasted for years and years. Normally, popes rule, you know, like, I don't know, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, and but they nominated, or they elected John Paul II when he was quite young, as popes go, and so he was I think it was from 78 until like 2005. That was a really long amount of time for him to be pope, and so he was this charismatic figure, and people thought, you know, well, he's the Church, he's the face of the Church. And when he ceased, when he died, Benedict took over. Benedict, who is my particular favorite of all the popes who've ever been since I've been aware of popes, which is the three. Out of the three, he's my favorite. Although, you know, John Paul II has an emotional pull. I think Benedict has, just as far as his intellect, as far as his what I believe to be his overall intentions. You know, maybe he ended up not being as effectual because of the system that surrounded him in the Vatican, which is, I'm Catholic, but I'm going to tell you the Vatican is corrupt, and there are a lot of bad men working there who are up to no good. Okay, those two things can be true at the same time. You can have a lot of bad men doing really bad things within the church and still believe that the church was instituted by Christ, and that the gates of hell will not prevail against it. And that's the struggle, of course. That's not, and I don't emphasize this part of me because I'm not a super Catholic. I'm not a super duper Catholic. I ask me on any given day, I don't know how I feel about whether the gates of hell are prevailing or not. And I'm not a super duper Catholic in my behavior necessarily all the time either. So I'm not a Taylor Marshall figure, obviously. And I just wanted to just to say a couple of things that, and to put everything, I'll put all my cards on the table. I had some kind of silly like sort of thing happen with Taylor Marshall where I responded to him in one of his posts. Maybe I was somewhat acerbic in my response, and he responded to that by banning me. I wish I could even remember what happened, what he said, what prompted me to respond the way that I did. I don't recall any of that. But I will say that I do think that Taylor Marshall is somebody who is an upstanding Catholic, and who's very passionate about church teaching, church doctrine, and who aims and wills for the good. And I have no reason to believe that he's not a good husband and a good father to his beautiful family. So, in a way, I was going to say it's nothing personal, but in a way there is something personal, and that's just what I want to talk about here. And I don't know whether this is appropriate or not, or if this is just going to feed into some kind of soap opera thing, which I don't want it to do. But Dr. Taylor Marshall, first of all, I've said before, I kind of have, it annoys me when people lead with their doctorate that way, unless it's unless it's on your resume, unless you're in some official capacity. There's nothing wrong with laying claim to being a doctor, and if you worked hard to get your doctorate, that's fine. You should be proud of that. But there's something about him just going on social media and calling himself Dr. Taylor Marshall that is a little bit annoying. And I don't. Again, this is like somebody are gonna say you're just a playa hater because you don't have a doctorate, Nowicki. I don't have a doctorate, but I don't. It's not that I have a problem with him having a doctorate. It's not that I have a problem with people who are doctorates. But I think just leading with that, like, why does that have to be a part of your brand? Why does it have to be part of your YouTube profile? Why does it have to be part of your Instagram profile or just your social media profile? Why do you have to be doctor, blah blah blah? Why can't you just be Taylor Marshall? Your name, who you are in the eyes of God. When God calls out to you, he's not going to call you Dr. Taylor Marshall. He's going to say, Taylor, hear my cry. I guess. At least that's how I've never heard the word of God myself, but I don't imagine he's a real respecter of titles. But anyway, my whole thing here, and again, maybe all of this is petty, maybe all of this is silly, but I thought I would, and maybe I won't use this, but there's been there's this thing that Taylor Marshall does, where he says, pray the rosary every day. If you don't pray the rosary, you're not on the team. And that, it doesn't bother me that he says to pray the rosary every day. I think it's great. And a lot of saints have said to pray the rosary every day. But I don't remember hearing saints saying, I don't remember hearing Saint Padre Pio, who Taylor Marshall is fond of, and I also am fond of. I don't remember reading him saying, if you don't say the rosary every day, you're not on the team. I don't remember any of the seers of Fatima. I don't remember any of them saying, pray the rosary every day, or else you're not on the team. That whole formulation of do this or else you're not on the team, I find that really irksome. Why? It's sort of like this. It's holding this whole it's like exercising social blackmail in a way. It's saying you want to be on the team, and we're going to shame you for not being on the team, and if you don't pray the rosary every day. Do I pray the rosary every day? No. Do I care about not being on Dr. Taylor Marshall's team? No. No. So it's not that I feel excluded. If I did feel excluded, if that was a reason enough for me to change, I would pray the rosary every day, because it would mean so much to me to be on Dr. Taylor Marshall's team. But I don't. I mean, I should pray the rosary more. If I were a better Catholic, I would pray the rosary more than I do. But the whole idea that if you don't, of him repeating this mantra, and I think he even put it on one of his coffee cups. If you don't pray the rosary, you're not on the team. It's like, who told him that he should relate to his fans or his followers like he's in some, like he's their hard ass football coach, that's kind of the vibe that has, or they're just their hard ass father, or their hard ass mentor, there's something infantilizing about it, almost. There's certainly a condescension to it. I don't know what it means. What does it mean? What is the team? I mean, if the team means that means faithful Catholics, there are plenty of Catholics who are faithful, who don't pray the rosary every day but still observe all the trappings of the faith. Are they not on the team? I mean, again, I'm not saying, I'm not being defensive. I'm not saying, how dare Taylor Marshall tell me to pray the rosary more, because I know I should pray the rosary more. I know I should. But there's something about this whole idea that if I don't pray it, I'm not on the team. I mean, what is that? Again, that there's something really irksome about that. What does it mean to be on the team? Is it like you're a Catholic with benefits now? If Dr. Taylor Marshall deigns to put you on his list of worthwhile people? I don't know. I know this probably comes across as petty to some. But I think it's important that people who represent the faith represent it well. And you know, don't get me wrong, Dr. Taylor Marshall is leagues ahead of some of the awful representatives of Catholicism that are out there, both official and non-official. I mean, there are a ton of just pathetic specimens of supposed Catholicism that just are crap. I'm not going to name any names, but I'll make a furtive reference to a certain portly man who lives in the state of Washington, who, when I was first becoming Catholic, almost derailed my coming into the faith. And this is a guy who, you know, was at the time anyway seen as this, you know, creme de la creme Catholic apologist. I think he's fallen out of favor a bit since then, which is a good thing. But I don't know. This why do you have to say you're not on the team? Why do you have to say you're a doctor? Why do you have to? There's something officious about all of that bothers me, that annoys me, that keeps me from watching Taylor Marshall's videos in a way that I think would be useful or helpful. So these are just my thoughts. I'll just put this out there. If I do indeed decide to use this video, let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. My name is Andy Nowicki. Ran out of breath there. You can check out my work at altrightnovelist.com.